Hey, welcome back to Baker Rebuilds. Today we're going to be doing some spark plugs so this thing is clearing out all cylinders real nice. So let's get into it. Man, I need an exhaust. First things first though, let's do a little bit of an unboxing. I ended up ordering the Dragonfire Performance Products coil packs and iridium spark plugs. These were highly rated, come heavily recommended from the Hemi community, so hopefully they'll perform well for the charger. Looks like we have a couple of awesome stickers and a remove before ignition Dragonfire Performance rip tag, Iridium Pro Series spark plugs. Now my 5.7 V8 Hemi has 2 spark plugs per cylinder, so we have a total of 16 spark plugs. Oh. I'm gonna wait to do the coil packs until another video. Well, let's take ourselves a little sneak peek, shall we? It's pretty awesome right there. These are definitely OEM replacement, 2 bolts on opposing corners and the 1 spot for the plug. So, and 2 tubes for each spark plug per cylinder. So the first thing you want to do is check the gap on each one of your spark plugs. Your new spark plugs, especially in this kit, I think come pre-gapped. So they should be ready to go. Plug and play, as you might say. However, I would definitely recommend checking the gap with a handy dandy little spark plug gap checker tool that you can get from O'Reilly or AutoZone or Napa, any of those places. And make sure that you have the correct gap for your engine, for what you're running. And you don't want to force it. Stupid mosquitoes, I'm gonna get eaten alive. You don't want to force it. You want to just put the spark plug on the skinniest part of the gap checker tool and just slide it, and then wherever you land, that's where you're sitting. So this thing looks like it's 0.037.038 right in the middle there. I'm gonna actually look up online and see what my 5.7 Hemi calls for because I can't remember. All right, I dug through some forums, found a few answers, went and checked my Chilton's Guide manual, whichever one I have. And the answer is 0.04 to 0.043. So we're gonna open these up just a little bit. All right, there she is, nice and properly gapped. Now to just do that 16 more times. I'll save you the trouble. See you in a minute. So far, it seems like 1 was missed in the first box, and the other 3 have been spot on to 0.043. So, just that is a good enough reason to check your spark plug gap, make sure that it's good to go. Last one. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to have fresh spark plugs in this thing. And in a future video, fresh coil packs. Get this thing firing real nice after the rebuild. There's probably only about 10,000 miles on the new motor, so still very fresh, but they're all gapped. Time to get them inside the car. First thing I'm gonna do is go through and pull all of the plugs off of the coil packs so that we can start the process of getting those out of the way. Really couldn't help myself, and I had to pick up that 3/8 drive impact to fill out my drawer on the lower right side of my toolbox. So we're gonna get it some good testing in today and see how she does. It has different modes here. First mode is 65 foot-pounds nut busting torque and tightening torque. Mode 2 is 150, and mode 3 is 250. And then the 4th mode is for fasteners, And all that's going to do is tightening torque of 20 foot-pounds and loosening torque of, I think, 250. But as you can hear, it's a very controlled nut busting torque. Yeah, we got a 10 for the coil pack hardware, 10mm bolt to loosen those. Might need a wrench to get back in some of these tighter spots. Maybe I could get down there with an extension or something or whatever, but I don't know. I'll probably just use maybe even a ratchet, 1/4" drive ratchet with a 10mm socket. Now the factory hardware is not retained and it has some washers on it. So it's a good idea to have yourself a magnetic catch cup so that you can put all this hardware somewhere and not lose any of it while you're dealing with the 16 bolts, getting them all out. Boom. Okay, once you have all the hardware out and you're unplugged, it's quite as easy as just pulling it straight out. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Ooh. I'm gonna get a flashlight. What on earth makes it look like you have earwax in your coil packs? I don't know if that's like old dielectric grease. Maybe that's just the dielectric grease with a little bit of oil. More of the same deal. That just must be the dielectric grease after some heat cycles. Cylinder 2 here. That's where we had no piston rings when we did the rebuild. This is from the driver bank and they all look like that. So I'm going with that's old dielectric grease. See if my 3/8 drive stubby ratchet can get in here. Yep, got it. Pull this last one out. It's definitely in the worst spot, but a little twisting, she comes right out. If you've ever taken your coil packs out, it's a good idea to throw the cylinder number on them so you know which way they go back in. So if your spark plug socket has an inside piece that tends to come out on the spark plug, don't leave that in there when you go to put in your new spark plug, or else you're going to trap that in the bottom of your cylinder and it's not going to be a good day. All right. Got the first spark plug out of cylinder 1. Definitely looks a bit used. Let's check the gap on this sucker just for funsies. The gap's still not too bad, really. These rear ones on the passenger side bank are extremely hard to get into. I'm gonna put the socket in first, then put my extension down in. It looks like that worked, but no way I'm getting a gun on that. So out comes my nice little long handle 3/8 ratchet. And oh, wait. You gotta make sure you twist the correct way. That is actually an important step. Oh, I'm cramping. My abs are cramping. I don't even have abs and they're cramping. If I remember right, this just pops up and off. But that didn't help me as much as I was hoping. I'm gonna see if I can't just open my pliers in it and grab it that way. Woo-wee! Got her. Didn't get the spark plug all the way off. So we will grab 3-inch extension and keep turning this bad boy a little bit more. Woo! So that's the secret right there. 3-inch extension, spark plug socket, and you should be golden. See if it works in that very, very back one. Keep twisting with my fingertips. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. There she is. 3-inch extension for the win. All right, guys, I was a little bit worried about what this might end up being on these two that are right in front of the power box right here. But the 3-inch extension with my spark plug socket slips in there just fine. And even with the dipstick right there, I could still fit my ratchet on, break it loose, and now I'm turning it out by hand. So not a problem at all. I'm gonna finish up pulling these spark plugs and I'll show you the next step. All right, so we got all the old spark plugs out. They're looking pretty fouled up and nasty. I would have to watch like a video again to know like what the spark plug can tell you based on what it looks like. But I mean, for the most part, these all look pretty much identical. There's not a big difference amongst any of them. They're all fairly black and kind of sooty on where the ignition happens. A few of them are more towards the white side, which I think has to do with higher heat, if I remember correctly. I could be totally wrong, don't remember. But anywho, time to put in the new spark plugs. They're all fully gapped. We already went through and gapped them all, so they're ready to go in, plug and play. The only other thing to do where these thread in metal on metal and goes through numerous heat cycles, right, is you want to put a little bit of anti-seize on your threads. That way, when you go to replace them, like I am right now, they'll come out nice and easy and won't give you a hard time. So we're going to put some anti-seize on the threads, and then I'm going to double check, but I think it said to torque them down to 20 foot-pounds. And this stuff really goes a long way. Like when I pulled out my old ones, I think I used a little bit too much last time. Like I'm already starting to do on these new ones. So yeah, a little bit all the way around, plenty. Start with cylinder 1. This camera robot that I've hired permanently full-time is one of the best investments ever, I'm pretty sure. I really enjoy it. And for those that don't have a clue what I'm talking about, I purchased a phone gimbal. And I've so far had a ton of fun with it. Changes up the content a little bit. Keeps it a little more interesting in my opinion. Ew. Now as I'm setting these in, I'm using my finger to lower it down in gently. You don't want to hit the end of your spark plug or else you might accidentally change your gap, and that would be unfortunate. So I'm just painting on a little bit of anti-seize. I haven't put my brush back in the bottle so that I can help it stay a little bit thinner on there. I'm just lowering them right into place. And then I'm going to throw a 20 foot-pound torque on them with my torque wrench that I finally got back from being fixed from Gear Wrench, so that better last me forever. Last spark plug on driver bank. All right. As you can see, these spark plugs definitely have some use on them. A little bit of black on the tips, some fouling. But I mean, I've seen worse. I've broken porcelain from the spark plug, so I mean, it didn't happen today, so that's good. That's a win. So now that I've gotten all the spark plugs back into their nice little tubes, now I'm going to break out my torque wrench and give these all a nice little torque and be ready to put the coil packs back on. Pull this nice little torque wrench out of here. All right, online it said 18.5 to 22.5 foot-pounds. So we're gonna go to 20 foot-pounds. We've already got our 3-inch extension with spark plug socket in here in the back of passenger bank side. That sounded good. Right now it's just showing my setting, set for 20 foot-pounds. Got a little bit to take up on this bolt here. Now it's starting to give me a readout. I'm just slowly approaching. There we go. All right, it's been a little bit of work. You know, we've been putting in the time, the effort, the precision. But this here Hemi, she's gonna be ready to roll. Got every spark plug in, covered every step. If you wanna follow along with the ignition coils, then you're gonna have to check out the next video and see if she starts right up. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.